soccer in the United States.
Sie hören Sport und Musik.
In a world where some call it football, football, or soccer, they dare to call it
fans
foosball.
fight over whether to call it
One thinks
football,
New York is
football,
blue. The other thinks New York is red.
All right. Hello. And good evening. Here we are. Good evening. It's a little different. Schnitzel Boys. Welcome to the Schnitzel Boys. Different time and only one of us, not two as usual. Stefan is in Europe, as we told you last week. And I've been away myself. I was on a hiking trip this weekend. Shout out to Andrew Skirka's West Virginia Fundamentals 2B. Had a great time. Hello, Zebas S is here. Welcome, Zebas. Glad to see you at this odd hour. So he's asking about his New York Red Bulls fan brother. Fret not. He will be here via pre-recorded segment. We had him... We recorded him a little bit. He's now asleep, hopefully. It's very late in Amsterdam. So you will get a little bit of him in a little bit. Like I said, I was on a hiking trip. I slept in a tent, and talking about my team, NYCFC, right here. What a difference a week makes. We were flying high last week, 8th place. Playoffs were in our future, perhaps we thought, but then things went poorly. Other teams caught up on their game in hand, and then finally on Saturday we lost to DC United, and that probably ended our season. I got the news in a tent via satellite text message, and it was quite sad. It was freezing in my quilt, and got the news, and it was a sad, cold moment in my tent. Anyway, we'll talk about this a little bit more. But here we have for you, Stefan. Hold on one second. He's coming your way. Okay, loading up.
This is
Here he is.
Stefan. I'm in Amsterdam. We're doing the USA Hour. But I was in New York over the weekend. Bjorn, you were hiking with Mr. Andrew Skirka. Was he there, or was it just a branded...
Well, the man himself was not with us. But there was a group of 10 of us. And West Virginia, shout out to my new hiking friends. It was great. Very cold though. Very cold night. Very cold nights, and but a great time nonetheless. But I was slept in a tent, was completely out of the loop on everything. So you'll have to catch me up with the goings on. I did get an update. My team is basically eliminated from the playoffs. The fates of our teams have completely flip-flopped in this week. A week ago, I was flying high. You were upset. Now
Right.
It's the other way around.
Well, we lost Chicago last weekend, and then you called it. You're just like, well, maybe we'll catch Cincinnati partying or something, and we 100% did. They didn't play any of their starters. We played their bench on Wednesday, and we won. I was like, well, shit. So we were supposed to get points against Chicago. We didn't. They had a smash and grab victory. And then Wednesday against Cincy was supposed to be a no-go because they're the best team in the league. But they were partying. We played their bench, and their bench was not good enough. We beat their bench. So we got 3 points on Wednesday. It's like, well, there you go. We got the 3 points we needed somehow. Then we had to win this game over the weekend, which we did very handily. We played Toronto. And as you know, Toronto makes everybody look like Barcelona this year. It was our best game of the season. Yeah, like I said, we had a blast. So I was in New York City this past weekend. I went to my first and only New York Red Bulls game this season. In fact, it's probably been a few years since I saw a game at the Red Bull Arena. I was able to see all the fancy new apartments they built right up until the arena, which just looks so weird to me. The Wild and the Cobalt, I believe is what they're called. They're like these fancy, like, luxury apartments. You've seen them.
Oh, yeah, right. You hadn't seen that. Yeah,
All that's brand new. It's very different around there. There used to be a giant old, like, coal mill that was a parking lot. That's all been torn up. I don't know where that is.
Yeah.
I saw the PATH station is huge and covered in glass now. It's not the old PATH station I remember. And it's like a bit, and I think they even switched it up a little bit. Like, when we were exiting, they routed us this weirdest way. You had to, like, cross the street twice and go around just to get up to the right thing. It was very weird finding the path afterwards. Because back in my day, you go down the street, and it's the first door to your left. But that's closed now. Like, the door doesn't exist anymore. And then the entrance is across the street, down the way is the other way, which is weird because it means you have to cross the parking lot, but you're not allowed to cross the parking lot. Anyway, that's a little boring. All I'm going to say, it's different. However, it was a very ethereal.
I'm very familiar. I go to Red Bull Arena all the time.
I was going to say, and it breaks my heart because you say, like, no one goes. MSFC fans don't go. It is such a cool place, man. It's a beautiful stadium. It is a fun stadium. I don't know what, and it was very, again, me and my friends came in from Brooklyn. Very easy commute through the Oculus. We took any train to the Oculus, walked to the path, and then boom, there you go. So for us, a lot of fun. And despite this season being very pathetic, we were there for what's called Fan Appreciation Night, some marketing thing they made up. And
yeah, I saw a picture. John Tolkien was dressed as a leprechaun.
That's right. He was in all green. My goal was to get a picture with Tom Barlow, but he escaped me way too fast. He was the first guy off the bus. So first things first, they had a red carpet event. Everyone waved in front of the stadium, and then the bus pulled up, and the team came off, and everyone waved and signed pictures, signed things, and did pictures, and it was a meet and greet between the fans and the players before they went in, which is a nice touch. But as you saw in my pictures, which maybe we can show on the thing or on our, maybe I'll tweet it out or whatever. Carlos Cornell was dressed like Vito Corleone, all white, his white blonde strips. Elias Manuel dressed for clubbing, and then John Tolkien dressed in all green. They're very stylish. Tom Barlow just very professional. He was focused tonight, and for good reason too, because Tom Barlow scored the go-ahead goal tonight. Incredible, and I was feeling it. So they go in, and then we go to the stadium.
That sort of. I'm sorry to interrupt your story, but that kind of epitomizes what Toronto has been this year, right?
It's pathetic.
Like the people all of a sudden, people that have not done anything all year, probably all of a sudden look like world beaters when Toronto comes to town.
Well, you guys had Toronto last week, right?
Yep. Well, we had them twice. We had them in the League Cup and in the regular season, both at Red Bull Arena by scheduling quirk. And, it was a cumulative 8-0.
Yeah, they make everyone look like rock stars. The good news for us is this was our last home game, and we needed the 3 points. So we got them at exactly the right point. We beat Cincinnati. We lost last week against Chicago. And I thought that was it. That was the kiss of death. Because we were supposed to beat Chicago. But then we beat Cincy because Cincinnati was celebrating. We played their bench. And we got lucky. Like, the schedule has been... The very last bit of the schedule has smiled very, very favorably on us. So we beat Cincinnati's bench on Wednesday, which gave us the 3 points we needed. And then we had to get 3 points against Toronto. We beat them comfortably 3-0. Tom Barlow scoring right before the half. And Luquinhas getting a double in the second half. And, Toronto didn't have anything to offer. Michael Bradley, was it right before that Tom Barlow goal, Michael Bradley was stripped. Michael Bradley is not a good soccer player. He was amazing back in the day. No disrespect to Michael Bradley, but...
He's 40... 42 years old, right? At this point.
I don't think so. I think he's only like 31 or something. I don't think he's that old. He used to play.
There's no way he's 31. Okay, you keep talking. I'll look up.
He used to play for the New York Metro Stars when he was like 15.
36. He's 36.
Okay, so he splits the
plays
difference.
about 42 for a mid-leaguer.
Well, it shows. It shows. He needs to retire and become a coach already. I mean, they fired his dad. You can tell he's not having a good time there. Every time Bernardeschi had the ball, we just booed the shit out of him.
Bradley?
What's that?
We need another Coach Bradley?
Oh yeah, he was going to be. He was always going to be a coach. He essentially retired like 5 years ago, and he's just waiting to become a coach. I don't know why he's still playing. He's America's Julian Nagelsmann, pretty much, except without the playing career. I guess Julian didn't have as much of a playing career. But that's neither here nor there. I don't know how effective of a coach he'll be. I hope a good one, because we need him. But anyway, so Luquinhas got a brace. Stripped Michael Bradley, and then Tom Barlow, and then every time Bernardeschi touched the ball, we all booed him. And we won the game a comfortable 3-0. Now, what I want to say is, it's been really depressing watching the Red Bulls with no audience. But last week and this weekend, they made a real effort to have a crowd out. There was a crowd there. There was a lot of people in New York Red Bulls gear. They were into it. They were yelling. They're like, Red Bulls, Red Bulls. The supporters group was yelling. We gave John Tolkien the fan award of the season. Carlos Cornell, after the game, Carlos Cornell jumped into the fan group. Troy Lassane came by, shook everyone's hands. John Tolkien took his award. It was a big fan team connected night, and it was nice because of how disconnected the team has been from the fans for so long. So kudos to them for pulling that off and making a fun event. There was a live DJ, then there was a live band, then there was a massive fireworks show afterwards, which was set to music. It was like a really impressive fireworks show, one I was not expecting. There was smoke and lights and lasers and fireworks. It was just a big old... And then afterwards, the entire stadium got invited to the same bar in Newark for a free drink. It was like the party... I'm dead serious. Like the party just kept on going. It's like I did not go to that bar.
What do you mean the entire stadium was invited to a bar? How many people were there?
I mean, the stadium probably had, 16, 17, 18,000 people. It was like a 2/3 of a house, or half to 2/3 of a house, which we haven't seen in a long time.
Did they all come? They all went? Everybody went to the bar?
I wasn't there, so I didn't want to find out because, literally, if 0.1% of the stadium showed up, the bar would have been packed because they were just like, go to Little Tijuana for a free drink to show them your ticket. That was like bold, very bold. All I know it was a party all night. And we won. So, we are in 10th place right now, I think, right outside the playoff spot. And of all the teams, because how many is it? 5 or 6 clubs are vying for those last 2 spots, right? And of all the clubs, we are behind Montreal, the second most likely to get a spot, right? Because DC United's already eliminated.
Likely? I mean...
I think we have to get a tie in Nashville. I think if we get a tie, we're in. Something like that. Like, if we get a tie, we're in.
No,
and you have to beat Chicago or something.
Charlotte has 2 games left. It all depends on...
Yeah, but they're going to lose in Miami.
Miami's packing it in. Messi's not going to play again.
No, he is going to play. He just played last week. You think he's going to play the final home game of the season in Miami? It's going to be a big event.
He's going to play? Okay, maybe.
I mean, it's their final home game. He's got the next 6 months off. Why won't he play?
Charlotte has 2 games left, so Charlotte can get to 45 theoretically.
How many points do they have now? 30.
They have 39. They have 39 right now.
Oh, okay.
So a tie will definitely not do it for you.
Well, they're going to get 3 points at best. That's my theory with them. Because they're not going to win the final Miami home game.
All right.
Miami's going to win that one.
That puts them at 42.
We need to beat Nashville then, by the way. We need 3 points against Nashville.
Yeah. You need to beat Nashville to get to 43, and then you'll have a good I think if you do that, you'll have a good chance.
Who's Montreal playing? We just have to beat Montreal. Montreal
is at Columbus.
Well, if Columbus beats Montreal and we tie Nashville, doesn't that put us above Montreal?
No, Montreal is the tiebreaker over you guys.
Oh, okay. They have more wins?
So what?
They have more wins than us?
They have more wins, yeah. They have 12. And you have 10, so you can't catch them.
So I guess we need to beat Nashville. So it hinges on the last game for us. We have to beat. If we beat Nashville, then we're in with a shot, I guess.
I think if you beat Nashville, you have a pretty good chance, actually, because
It's pretty much in our hands.
I
I looked this up before.
Charlotte, you're saying Charlotte's not going to win twice. I think we'll probably beat Chicago, most likely, right? And that
I hope so. You're supposed to for our sake.
Put us at 40. I mean, Chicago are weird. They just lost at home. I mean, when they really had a chance to almost clinch it for themselves, right? They lost.
They also were supposed to lose against us last week.
They lost at home to Charlotte. 0-2. Big game for them. Like, if they had won that, they would have been practically in.
Their game against us was a total smash and grab. They weren't supposed to win that game either.
Chicago, if we're assuming that we may beat Chicago, and you saying Charlotte's only going to win one, then a win would put you in.
Right. That's what I'm hoping happens.
But with those assumptions. But it's not going to be an easy, I mean, that's no cakewalk. I mean, we'll see how Nashville does, because they have another game that they're playing before that, a second game.
They're playing for nothing.
That'll determine whether or not they even have anything to play for. There's also a scenario where they will play the B team.
They already
against you all.
They already are playing for nothing, right? Because they can't.
They what?
They already are playing for nothing. They're firmly in 7th place. Nothing they can do will eliminate that.
If they win their game in hand, because they also have 2 games left. If they win their next game, then they have. They could potentially catch Atlanta for 6.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because they have 2 games left. They're at 46 now. Atlanta's at 50. They have 2 games in hand.
All right.
They have 2 games left. Atlanta has 1 game left. So,
but they're not playing for much, give or take, because they're playing for, I guess, they're 7th now, and maybe they can get 6th. Who cares if they're 6th or 7th? But they're not really playing for super much. So I'm banking on them being.
It's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible for you to do it. I mean, the flip side of this whole argument is also that we are not as out of it maybe as one might think. Like, if we're assuming that you don't do that, you lose in Nashville, and Charlotte doesn't do much against Miami, then we're kind of in. Then we're in if we beat Chicago, because you're the only 2 teams that we have to. Chicago, we'll pass by beating them, and then it's only the Red Bulls and Charlotte that we have to worry about. So if Charlotte only gets 1 point and you lose in Nashville, then we're back in. So yeah, I mean, I guess it's closer. It's a little bit closer. I mean, that's not a completely outrageous scenario. That's possible that happens.
It's going to be a wacky decision day. Another wacky MLS decision day.
We're going to know a lot. By decision day, we're going to already know a little more, because Charlotte and Miami will have played 1 game. So that'll give us a little bit of a
and Nashville,
a little bit more information. And Nashville too, yeah. But I think you're correct.
But it's going to be a thing where every goal flips the table upside down. So it's going to be a fun decision day.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun if you're into that kind of thing. Fun or torturous.
I'm definitely into that kind of thing.
There's also a world in which everything goes our way, and then we just tie Chicago or something. Like, that is also entirely plausible that would happen.
Weirder things have happened.
But yeah, well, anyway, I'm sorry, I interrupted your tale, so keep going.
No, that was it. It was just a good time. Like I said, it's nice. It was a good crowd. I haven't been in a while. Big stadium, big staff, host with a microphone, team is in it. They're playing for death. Fans are in it. It's like, look, I was like, hey, look at me. I'm at a living, thriving club. when was the last time I felt that? When was the last time anyone from the New York Red Bulls felt that? So it was nice. It was nice to be there, and it was nice to see front and center. Like they were waiting for me, I guess. It was nice to be there front and center.
You do feel like it does feel like this league is experiencing a rising tide that is lifting all the boats. I think.
I hope so. Well, definitely the Messi effect, right?
Including your tattered barge.
Yeah, but like when I was there, everyone was in Red Bulls gear. It was a Red Bulls. We're all Red Bulls folks. There was one dopey Toronto fan sitting behind me. But by the second half, he was quiet and he left. I mean, what? I don't know how he got. A, I don't know how he got there. B, I don't know why he wasn't sitting in the fan section. The Toronto away section had 1 or 2 people in it at most.
I mean, would you travel right now? If you're a Toronto fan, you're going to travel for this game?
Yeah, well, no, but the guy behind me all day was Toronto. Like I said, I told him, like, you need to leave and go to the away section. You're the only guy here. But by the second half, he had nothing more to say. So he just sat there very quietly while everyone was cheering, having a blast. And I'm just like, wrong section, bud. And then, like I said, he was gone by the end of the game. He left. But every time Bernardeschi had the ball, the entire stadium booed him. We really hate that guy. The league hates that guy. MLS hates that guy. He is talentless. He was putting his arms up, being like, how come you didn't do the run I wanted you to do? And as far as I know, he went to vape in the locker room or whatever. I don't know. I have to call him Vapey McGee. If you don't show, Insignia's injured because it just had lower body area. His balls hurt or something. I don't know. He just hasn't been playing. So, and they had John Herdman in the stands because he's about to take over Toronto. Like that's supposed to do something. But we had a great game and a weak point. And I don't know. It was a good night. It was a fun night had by all. It was a great way to end the home season. And we're still in with a shout. Decision day. Maybe we'll be in the playoffs by the end of decision day. We'll have another home game at some a three-game series maybe. Who knows? All I know is that it has been very up or down for the Red Bulls this season. We have never been in a playoff spot the entire season. It could be very, very realistic that the only time the entire season that we're in a playoff spot is at the end of the 34th game at the final whistle.
Yeah.
That will be the case.
And that's the only time that counts.
True, my friend. But yeah, on the New York, on the Twitter sphere, there's a list of 9 coaches who have since left. Like Wayne Rooney was fired. The Minnesota Adrian Heath was finally fired, which is a little random to me because they still have 2 or 3 games left and they're not out of the playoffs. Minnesota, I guess it just felt like they had to fire him right then and there. DC and Wayne Rooney was let go right at the end of the last game. And people are saying Nick Cushing is next. That seems to be the next. The next guy on the chopping block is Nick Cushing. Do you think he survives even if you guys make the playoffs? Do you think he survives the season?
Well, I think we won't, and I think he won't.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's the short answer. I mean, this was I didn't watch the game, but from the highlights of what I picked up, it's a pretty listless performance when we really needed against the DC United team that's not making the playoffs, that was on short rest, and we just weren't up for it. And I think we're down 2-0. He brings Keaton Parks for our striker, Munsa Bakrar, and I love Keaton Parks like a family member, but he's not gonna score 2 goals to get. So yeah, I think it's gotta be it for him.
Yeah. So time will tell. We have a very fun decision day at the end there. I'm trying to think of any other MLS big news. Messi is finally healthy again. He did play the last game when they were officially eliminated. He's playing for Argentina, and like I said, I believe he's not going to make the second to the last Charlotte game because in typical MLS fashion, that game is scheduled exactly 1 day after he plays for Argentina. But he'll be there for the final home game, and I think it'll be a final hurrah because he has a big break ahead of him. I mean, after they get eliminated next week or 2 weeks from now, they're not going to play again until March. So he's got plenty of rest. Him and Alba.
So Messi played in this game, and Miami lost 4-1.
I didn't see the.
Lost to Cincinnati. Sorry, wrong game. I'm sorry.
Well, what was the last game? Remind me.
They lost lost to Cincinnati at home, 1-0.
And he can't. I don't know if he played a full 90,
And
but
he came in 50. He came in the 55th, and they lost. Okay, that's what happened.
okay.
Yeah.
And he's going to go play for Argentina full 90 for the qualifiers. And like I said, he's going to be there for the very last game. So if he's healthy, full 90, or at least part of it. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I am definitely feeling a Charlotte loss in that last week. I think Miami's going to wind down on a high. And, when they're healthy and focused, they're pretty unbeatable. So, they just had it was a lot of, they have older players and a large fixture congestion. And, the reality did sink in and they didn't make the playoffs. If they were healthy the whole way, if Messi was healthy the whole way through, they likely would have been in the playoffs. So.
Yes? Well, you don't know that.
I said likely. I didn't say I guarantee it. That's what I feel.
I mean, we predicted. We said they weren't gonna. So
yeah,
let's take some credit. Let's take some in the midst of all the Messi hype. We said they probably won't make the playoffs, and we were correct.
I think that was a you thing. I think I said they were going to make the playoffs, so I was wrong. I think you were right.
Oh, okay. Well, then I take all the credit.
You take all the credit. It's all yours. It's all yours. And then, last but not least,
I'm so bad at predicting things. I gotta make a big deal out of it when I get something right.
No, it's good. No, you did it right. You did exactly right. A very reasonable choice, and you did it right. If there are no other topics, we got USA versus Germany this week. That's the big thing.
Yeah, I'm going Saturday.
I'm going to try to watch it somewhere. I'm going to be on a train in Germany. I'm going to try to go to a Kneipe at the end of the night.
I guess this works for the USA hour and the Germany hour.
True. Well, let's talk USA squad, and then we'll talk Germany squad side for Germany hour.
Tell me.
How about that? So John Brooks was not called in, right? You said he was going to. That was not correct because he is blacklisted. Remember, we talked about that. Well, last episode you said
going to?
Yeah, you said if he's performing well, he'll get called in. I was like, no, he won't, and he did not get called in. But John Brooks had a really bad game last week. But it was just the last weekend. However, the rest of the squad looks pretty tight. Gio Reyna's healthy. They called in Leonard Maloney from Hoffenheim, who has been the secret little holding D-mid in the Bundesliga that has a U.S. passport. He's German. One of those fun little German Americans we always have. But Leonard Maloney will be part of the U.S. camp moving forward. So with an injured Tyler Adams, we'll see how he steps in. We'll see how that goes. But, it's on Saturday that we've got Germany and we've got Ghana. It's a good squad. Matt Turner and Ethan Horvath, both from Nottingham Forest, are there. We got Joe Scally and Tajir Dest and Pulisic and McKennie and, all the boys, Tim Weah. I think only Tyler Adams is injured. And like I said, we got this Leonard Maloney guy. So we'll see how he plugs in. But, overall, a decent group. Germany hasn't been at its best, but the quality of the German squad is still, much better than the quality of the U.S. squad, I would say. Or better. Maybe much better is unfair. I don't know. Better. Maybe much better. I don't know. I don't know what would be fair and what not be fair. The German squad definitely has more quality. But the German squad is interesting to me because Julian Nagelsmann, I think, unless I'm reading it wrong, is giving a big old clue into how he's going to play. Because the squad that was called in had their entire defense was central defenders, except for one left back and one right back. So if I were a betting man, I'd say we're playing with a back three with two wing backs moving forward, which will be interesting and honestly smart. I'm excited by that. It seems like Julian Nagelsmann is picking dudes in form, not a lot. Like Mats Hummels is still there, and I'm just like, I don't know. Isn't Mats Hummels done with, or am I wrong?
Yeah, he's not the future.
It's definitely not the future, but he's there. I think Thomas Muller's still there.
He has been in fairness, like there was a point last season where he really looked washed.
Yeah.
He has picked it up. he has looked better. I feel towards the end of the year and beginning of this season, he's rebounded somewhat. Yeah, I would say.
Well, he's in the squad, but it seems like Germany's going to play a back three, two wing backs, and then three midfielders, or like I don't know, one midfielder, two defensive wingers, and then one or two dudes up top, a Knipser, and then a number 10, a shadow striker. That would be my assumption, but it's going to be heavy on the center backs, and even a Kimmich might be a right wing back, and like a Chan or whatever might be a left wing back. I don't know, I'm curious. But it's definitely, you brought 7 center backs. And to me, that communicates a back three, right?
Probably.
That would be my assumption. But yeah, so that's the USA-Germany game on TNT. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe the U.S. could do a confident little home win. Or who are you banking for?
Who am I what?
Who are you rooting for? What's the final score? Give me a prediction. USA Germany on Saturday.
Well, I'm a Germany fan over USA still.
Yeah, but use your Gahan. Talking about Gahan here.
The school. Who's gonna? We're gonna win 2-1. Germany's gonna win 2-1.
2-1 Germany using your Gahan,
Yeah.
which is German for brains, I believe.
The brain, whatever's left of it.
Whatever's left of the old brain. Okay, cool. I like that. Excellent. So, long story short, Red Bulls thumbs up. NYCFC would have known. League is winding down. Decision day. We got USA versus Germany. It's coming.
That's it.
That's it. Excellent.
Tell us about Europe.
I
You're not in Germany yet. You're in
No.
Amsterdam right now.
I'm Stefan Dutch pancake. I had a Dutch pancake this morning. It was delicious. I did the canal tour. You know what's funny? I was just in Brooklyn for a few days, and I love that. I love seeing my old buds. I hung a lot of old buds, and I love New York, and walked around New York, and had a great time in New York. And then I go to Amsterdam, and I'm driving around the canals, and the whole time I'm like, man, this all looks like Brooklyn for the most, like the construction. And it takes me a second. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, Brooklyn was built inspired by the Dutch architecture style. They're all Dutch homes, and like the row houses in Brooklyn are all Dutch style. And I was just like, oh yeah, there you go. There's a reason for that. It's like I'm in the original. Now, the canal houses in Amsterdam are gorgeous. Like they have the giant facades with it's painted gold. And they got the date. And they got the name of the house. And they got the bell in the front. Like it's the canal houses are gorgeous. The Brooklyn houses don't look like that. But you can tell it's like inspired by it. It's like if you took Brooklyn, put it on the water, and had ride around a canal on bikes, and there you go. That's Amsterdam. But no, I'm having a good time. Like I said, we talked. I did hurt my foot a little bit, so I have to take it easy. I'm resting my foot. But tomorrow I'm going to all the museums. I'm trying to go to the Van Gogh Museum and the other museum. There's a couple of main museums to go to. I'm trying to hit that. There's an improv theater here in thing where Brendan Hunt is from. The guy who created Ted Lasso. They did all that. Many years ago here in Amsterdam, a bunch of dudes from Chicago opened an improv theater, and they got really into Ajax Amsterdam.
Okay.
Seth Meyers, Brendan Hunt, Jason Sudeikis, guys like that. And they were huge Ajax Amsterdam fans for that reason. And many years later, they created Ted Lasso. So Ted Lasso has its roots in Amsterdam, oddly enough, in the improv scene here. Now, Ajax Amsterdam is a total dumpster fire right now. I mean, this isn't the Dutch podcast, but I'm in Amsterdam, so I'll touch on it. They abandoned their last 2 games due to fan violence. They haven't completed a game in a while. And they are like in a relegation zone right now. It's interesting what's going on with Ajax.
Really?
Yeah, Ajax is...
I've not kept up that much. Okay, wow.
There's something going on with Ajax. A week or 2 ago, there was the Ajax Feyenoord game, and it was abandoned because of fan violence in the second half. They couldn't finish it. And then the Ajax game last weekend was also abandoned for something. I forgot what it was, but they had to stop the game before it completed. I mean, it's such a weird... Imagine, I don't know. I've never heard that before, right? A club that can't complete its games. So something's going on in Amsterdam, and I'm here for it ever so briefly. I'm here to solve it. I'm here to fix it.
You have to drop in to straighten it out.
But it's cool being in a big European city. Like today, a bunch of people were wearing Ajax jerseys, and there's an Ajax fan shop, right? You know, it's an integral part of the city. It's like important, you know. And it's cool to be in that kind of culture again, you know. So that's fun. I have my Fanta, I bought my Pum Bear. You know, I went to there's a lot of cheese. Amsterdam is a land of cheese, so I got myself some good cheese. Cheese, clogs, tulips, canals, bikes. You know, Amsterdam's got it all.
Sounds good.
And then on Saturday, I am doing my Deutsches Fußball Day, which we'll talk about next week. I'm going
All right.
to.
Should we save that for the Germany hour?
Yes, we should. Thank you. This is the USA Hour. Goodbye, everybody from Amsterdam. I'll see you guys next time.
All right, that was Stefan from Amsterdam yesterday, getting you all caught up. We had some problems with the European internet. The European internet is pretty slow. I had that experience when I was in Germany at my parents' house earlier this year. They use it, I guess, for, I don't know, email and a little web browsing. I was trying to download some video files, and it was just very, very sluggish. And we had this problem with Stefan's Amsterdam internet as well. It was very slow. We couldn't get 2 video streams going to record both of us at the same time. So we did it this way. We'll see what we do next week. He's in Europe for a while, but I will not have been hiking, so I will be present at the usual appointed hour on Monday night. So we'll be back to the regular schedule. This year we'll probably do something similar. We'll hear from him. Maybe we'll have some other guests. It was kind of nice. I wouldn't say this to his face, you know, as a NYCFC fan, but it's sort of nice to see some Red Bull happiness. I mean, they've just been on such a kind of downward spiral, not just in terms of their results, but just the general vibe around the club. I mean, Stefan has ranted and raved about the decline of the Red Bull. So, you know, made me happy to hear him have a good time at the game and some people showing up and his team having some life here late in the season all of a sudden. Of course, you know, unfortunately it comes at our expense potentially, but we have no one to blame. We have no one to blame but ourselves. I think Matt Doyle got it correctly at MLS Soccer in his column, and it really just comes down to NYCFC deciding to start the season without a proper 9 just was a mistake, obviously. Thales Magno wasn't it. And even Gabe Siegel, who probably will not get another minute of MLS time, I would guess, scored like 2 goals and had some assists in limited time. So just putting anybody in there, even if we had Munsef Bakrar or somebody like him, it's not like he's even seemingly all that special from what we've seen. If just a proper striker in the middle, and we probably make the playoffs if we have one of those for the whole season. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway, I don't remember saying that John Brooks was going to get called up for the national team, but anyway, we'll just leave it at that. I do remember predicting at Miami we're not going to make the playoffs, which I'm glad. I mean, they were just very far behind. Obviously, the Messi injury didn't help them, but they had a lot of ground to make up, and they didn't, and they had to play a lot of games, and it just proved to be too much for them. But anyway, happy to see some Red Bulls happiness. Adrian Heath got fired. We didn't really get into that so much. I mean, it's end of an era. I think him and Jim Curtin are kind of probably the longest serving coaches in MLS, and he was there for a long time. He's kind of an old school, crusty English guy, and I enjoyed him as a character. So hopefully he'll end up somewhere else, and we'll see more of him. Sebas S is predicting that the Schnitzel Boys crossover game, USA against Germany this weekend, friendly in Hartford, Connecticut this weekend, is going to end up 3-2 for the US of A. Okay. I mean, that's certainly would be in keeping with how the German defense has been performing recently. So I'm not going to say that's definitely not going to happen. He's saying also he was at the game against Toronto, section 231, row 2. Well, it sounds like it was a good time. But yeah, Toronto, like we were saying, Toronto is the feel-good visitor this year in all of MLS. I mean, Tom Barlow scored a goal. That's all you need to know. Tom Barlow, who we've made fun of really all season long for being inept as a striker. Even he can score when Toronto are in town. Anyway, yeah, that's all I have for you right now. We'll see you on the other side at 10 p.m. for the Germany hour. On the flip side, we'll have more Stefan, and we'll talk about Julian Nagelsmann's debut that's coming up this weekend. It's, as always, it's lovely to have you here. We're going to be back at our regular slot next week, and like us and subscribe to us and buy some mugs on Etsy. Schnitzel Boys mugs. They're very nice. I don't have it here. I had a coffee earlier. So see you on the other side. Germany hour, 10 p.m. Good night.